Brazilian filmmaker Monica Demes, whose film Lilith's Awakening, played at Dances with Films, and it's an interesting film. It reminded me of A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night, The Eyes of My Mother, which played at Sundance this past January, and even Tikkun, the film that we reviewed last week.
Because it is a black and white film, and it really uses the black and white cinematography very well to create this kind of otherworldly feel, but it is a vampire story set in small town Iowa.
That's right. Yeah.
Like they got.
Well, you'll
hear why it's in Iowa.
Yeah.
But it's a story of kind of a bored,
20-something girl,
depressed housewife who starts to notice that strange things are happening and meets. Well, she comes in contact with otherworldly forces, basically.
Yeah. There's this she's a married woman, but there's this man in town that's kind of like courting her and trying to have an affair with her, but then the otherworldly forces come into play, and there's some gore.
Dragged her to the docks.
Some gore, some otherworldly figures. Very, very precise cinematography.
Really gorgeous. Yeah. Black and white use. Because it's a great use of when you don't have much, in some ways actually helps to take away elements like color, like lighting, and just kind of focus in. Yeah.
Monica is greatly influenced by David Lynch. And in the interview, you'll hear her talk about things that connect her with David Lynch and how he works when he's giving notes. Because she was part of a program that enabled her to have 3 sessions with David Lynch, and kind of how she feels they connect. Also, why a Brazilian filmmaker is making a genre film in Iowa, and all sorts of juicy things that you'll hear in this interview. Just want to say before we play it that you'll hear some background noise because we did the interview at the festival.
Yeah, Dance with Films where it had its world premiere. So that's the noise in the background. It's the festival environment.
Yeah, but it's Monica Demes and also the actress of the film.
The actress who plays Lilith, the other title, Barbara Eugenia. So the two of them talking with us about Lilith's Awakening.
Straight from Brazil. So here is our interview for the segment Not Yet in Theaters with Lilith's Awakening. We're here presenting their film for the first time, and if you guys could tell us about the genesis of the film and how did this come together from the start. How did you join the project?
I started writing this film using a transcendental meditation technique. It was the first time I was doing that, trying to mix meditation with screenwriting, and for me it was very liberating because it allowed you to go to places that you cannot go with your intellect. So it's kind of a reversed process. Usually when you're writing a screenplay through the intellect, you get a concept or an object like the sea or ambition. And then you write everything that's good about ambition, everything that's bad about ambition, and there is a point where your character will have to decide, make a decision, and he will go one way or another, and he will gain or lose things. With this process, I locked myself in a room for 3 days and 3 nights, and I was waiting for something new to come to my mind. So I came to one scene of the film that was the seed of the whole screenplay. That was the scene where Art is driving the car at night in a dark road, and he sees a woman on the street. He stops and she enters the car. He takes her to a dark place and he tries to rape her, but then she turns into something wild and uncontrollable, and she destroys him. And after I wrote that, I asked myself, wow, why did I write that scene? So I said, I'm tired of seeing women being victims in film. And after that, they are victims, all their lives is destroyed, especially in horror movies. Either they die, either they freak out and become something horrible and their lives are destroyed. So I thought, what if something really bad happens with someone who tries to make evil things with women? And that was the seed of the whole screenplay. Also, when I was doing that technique, I was in Iowa, in the Midwest, which is the most conservative part of America, in my opinion. Distances are very large there. You can drive a lot of time only with the cornfields, and the winter is very strong. People don't talk a lot. They don't go out a lot, so the streets are empty. So all that loneliness, emptiness, and it's very Puritan as well. So you can feel a little bit of misogyny still. It's a very subtle. People are nice, but you can see the way women and men treat each other, that there is a little bit of old times still there. And also a lot of churches that regulate how people behave. So uniting that with the scene that I wrote, I came to a vampire story. Because it was just like going back to Dracula in those Elizabeth, Victorian times, I'm sorry, and bring back all those concepts of sexual repression, lust, being evil, no, connected to evil, to darkness, and the cross, which is in the hand of the patriarchal powers that would save Lucy or Mina and bring them back to life. And I did a little reverse point also. Instead of a prince of darkness in the story, I tried to use a princess of darkness, which is my beloved friend Barbara Eugenia.
Did you want to, what attracted you to the story? Destroying this evil guy or being a vampire in Iowa? What was the thing that brought you to the project?
Well, it was actually, Monica invited me. She said that ever since she wrote the script, that she thought about me playing Lilith. I don't really know why, but I understand.
But why did you accept?
Because I was gonna from the beginning. Because I always loved vampire stories. It's like ever since I was a kid. And when she told me she was doing a vampire movie, I said, that's fantastic. That's brilliant. I really want to see that. And then she invited me, and I said, of course I want to do it. I'm very familiar with the vampire realm because I've watched all the movies, I've read books, and I don't know why I have this.
Is there anything about them that fascinates you, perhaps?
Yes, I just love it. I love it. When I was younger, I was really sad that I couldn't be a vampire. Like, why? It doesn't exist, like that.
But now,
with the fangs and everything.
But now you got to be one. So.
Yes, so it was like a dream come true. It was really nice.
Did you know you wanted to do black and white from the beginning? Or?
Yes. Actually, I was 3 months in Iowa looking everything with my iPhone in black and white mode. It was very fun because I was dreaming in black and white already. It was so strange. It was the first time. But it was because I knew I wanted a place that looked lost in time and space, and I knew the black and white would give that vibe, and I knew that was the internal feeling of Lucy. She was lost in time and space. Her life was passing in front of her, and she was stuck there. Also, I think black and white is an invitation to the viewer to enter a fantasy, because since the first moment when he looks at the film, he says, whoa, this is not reality. You're entering a dream, and you're gonna lose yourself in it. No, that's what the black and white allowed you as a filmmaker.
And that reminds me, we talked about this last night. David Lynch is a major influence to you as a mentor. Talk about how his films affected you as a filmmaker, and also how you as a person interacting with him and learning from him.
His films. The first time I saw a David Lynch movie, it was a shock to me because it was so goddamn different from everything. So good. Maybe this film looks more like his old films, like the first one he did, which was not the first thing I saw. The one that shocked more was The Lost Highway, which has a kind of sense of the character also doesn't know what really is going on. No? They're always lost in a place that is between time and space and in between words. I think it would be the right concept. I don't think my films look a lot like his films, but we drink from the same transcendental meditation, and I think somehow it affects you because when you meditate and you transcend, you are connecting with a lot of intuition. And you create through intuition, not through intellect. And this guides you in a little bit more free way, in a way that you put concepts together, and it makes it a little bit more free for the audience also to have their point of view of what they are seeing. In that sense, I think we connect as filmmakers. The films are a little bit free for you. You can see the film in one way, you can see the film in another way. The privilege that I have of hearing his advice, it was all regarding the story. When I was doing the MFA of David Lynch, we had the right to consult with him 3 times during the process of writing the screenplay. And one of them was really decisive for me, which was I started writing the screenplay and I got stuck. And then I said, okay, I'm gonna write another story. So I started write another story, and I realized the second story was the same as the first, but with different characters. And I got stuck in the same place. And then I said, okay, I'm gonna write a third story. So I started writing the third story, creating everything, and then I realized the third story was the same as the second and the same as the first with different characters. And then I felt like in Twilight Zone. Like, fuck, I'm never gonna get out of here. I really got desperate, so I used my session to say, hey David, this is happening to me. Can you help me? What should I do? Help me. And then he said, Monica, it's just like that. Imagination doesn't exist. You are connecting with something that is around you. Your brain is perceiving these ideas that flow in the universe, and it's trying to grab it and transform it into a film. So it has to have images, and in these images you have to have characters to bring those ideas into earth. And it's normal that your brain go changing the characters until those ideas find the right characters to materialize in this planet. But why are you getting stuck? And he looked at me in the Skype monitor and he says, you're lying. Somewhere in this story, you're lying. I said, God damn it, I'm lying. So I go back home. Why? Where am I lying? Why am I doing that? So I'm the whole night awake thinking, where am I lying? And I realized one day later, like I remembered the exact moment when I decided with my intellect that I was not gonna write a film with a female protagonist. And the story didn't make any sense if she was not a woman. That's why I was getting stuck, because it was through my feelings that I was writing. So in the right moment that I changed and she became a girl, lost in the man world, in a gas station, in a totality of that word made for men only, that her drama started to exist and she was lost there. So I changed that and the whole rest of the story came.
So you feel like you were hiding yourself behind being a male protagonist, perhaps? And then when David Lynch tells you that you're lying, you have to take a look.
I was like, where? Where? And he was right. It was so, I would say his advice was shamanic. Because I never told him the story. Never. We could only talk to him with one condition. We could never tell the story. Never.
You just talked about themes and characters.
It's like, I'm having this problem. Can you help me? So you have to find a way to tell the problem without telling the story.
The specifics.
Yeah. So I'm like, how am I going to tell him? No, and then I realized what was really going on, and like a shaman, he put his hand in my heart and he...
Where does the color come from? The little bits of color that we see besides the blood. They're very specific.
It's a little homage that I do to vampire films. Blood is life. Lucy is lifeless. So the 3 moments in her story where life comes is when she's coming to life. No, the first one is after she does her first transgression. No, and this kissing scene so hot with art, and she's feeling so good in that car. her little transgression, no? And then the second one is after Lilith bites her, she dies, and we see the moon passing color. For me, as a filmmaker, that moon represents that something is wrong in the universe. Things are changing, but also it's like the soul of Lilith who died crossing the sky and entering her dream. When she's dreaming here in the bed, we see her coming, the other spirit, who was transformed in the dream. And she says, wake up, Lucy, wake up. And boom, Lucy's wake up. And when she wakes up, she will never be the same again. She doesn't know yet, only when she goes to bed.
For you, Barbara, what do you think Lilith's purpose is from coming back from the realm of appearing in these people's life? What's her awakening? What's her purpose? What is she here to do? To take revenge or to...
No. She's there to liberate Lucy. It's a kind of a, how do you call that word? Like an alter ego.
Okay.
She's kind of a Lucy's alter ego. So through Lilith, she can liberate herself and be who she really wants.
Definitely.
As a director and actor, I know because you wanted this with the black and white to become a dream-like feel of the film. How else did you discuss performances to kind of continue on that theme of kind of a otherworldly presence? Did you discuss how the tempo of the performances to fit that world? Or how did you discuss the performances?
You asking me how I direct them?
Sure, how you guys discuss performances in the film,
Yeah, I'm very obsessed with photography. So it's kind of, the first thing is I discuss exactly where they have to move their head and where they have to be, because everything is very millimetrical. And then we do the pacing, which is very millimetrical as well inside the frame. And then I say, look, you have to feel like this, you have to feel like that. And if they need more things, I say run, jump, whatever they need for you.
Yeah. She would be very, very precise about how she wanted it to be expressed. And she would always give like some keywords right before we would shoot, and she would say like blah blah blah, and then blah blah blah. Okay, and it would put you right into the moment.
The keyword was something that I learned reading about how David directs, and it's magical. That is this film Wild at Heart. The keyword for the character of
Nicolas Cage. You
know which was?
Yeah.
No, I don't know what was it.
Elvis.
Oh, that's what you call him.
That was his word.
The keyword for his character, Elvis.
And that embodies so much, right?
Yeah.
Like one single word tells you.
It's a heavy word to use,
You just have to find the right word, right? It's very specific. Also, in Blue Velvet, the keyword to the singer.
What was it?
Isabella Rossellini. The keyword was Marilyn Monroe.
Okay.
So, by one word, you're basically telling you don't even have to say anything else. It's just describing, kind of the mood of the and the idea of the character. What was your word?
To do them?
Yeah.
I don't want to tell.
Okay. It's a secret.
Sorry,
it's a secret.
Yeah.
All right.
When you write your book, we'll find out. When you write your book for your film.
in 20 years?
20 years. It'll be your little tidbit, your secret.
Why did you decide to make the film in English? Did you always think of it as a film in America and the US?
Because I wanted to do this project there because I had a short film called Halloween. It's a little animation that entered a competition. The competition was to short films until 5 minutes. So I only had this work, and I heard it like on Thursday, and Friday was the last day. So I had this project I have done in Spain. I sent it to them, and because David liked it, I won an award, financial award, to shoot a project in Iowa. So it had to be there.
Okay.
Yeah, right. And because it was there, we got 2 co-productions with Spain and another with Brazil and with America to grab the rest of the money to do the film.
Do you have any intention to shoot in Brazil perhaps, or to do a film in Spanish, or do you want to continue working in English?
I want to continue working here, but I would love to do a film in Spain as well, yeah.
Do you watch a lot of horror films?
I do. I love European films and horror films. That's the two that I love.
It feels like your film is sort of like a blend between them too.
It is. It's like a polished movie from the 60s, and like those American movies from the 50s with a little bit of modernity, right?
Yeah, I felt a little bit like a film noir kind of feeling there. Well, kind of the
Fritz Lang probably,
Yes.
like
Fritz
Destiny,
Lang,
and yep.
and the kind of the gas station with there's the love triangle sort of, and then there's a supernatural element in there. So there's a lot of influences there, and come together in a really nice way. And
So, what have you liked recently from horror films? I think you were telling us a few yesterday.
Yeah, the last one that I really enjoyed was The Witch.
Yeah.
I really like that film, especially because the images are so astonishing. Like the ending of the film, the last image. I love Goya. It's one of my favorite painters, and I didn't even know the guy was influenced by Goya. I only read about it later, but when I saw it, I saw the picture that was in Museo del Prado in Spain. I saw it. Wow! I was 3 days and 3 nights thinking about the end of that film. It was so shocking to me. And so feminist too. It is so different to get people who do horror films with a female perspective, and you can understand the female characters. I miss that as a woman, so I really love when I see that.
But he's a male director, though. He's a male artist.
Yeah, you don't have to be a female director to do that. Almodovar has a lot of great female characters who have soul and who are people, but not a lot of directors do that. I would say maybe 5% of directors do that, especially in horror.
Yep. It feels like the horror genre uses the female character as kind of like just, objectifies them, in a sense, which is, it's scary to think about that. What's your next project? What are you working on next?
Thriller.
All right.
I'm fascinated about this story that I'm writing. It's about 2 girls. They are in a music conservatory.
Okay.
One of them is obsessed with the other, and a song is haunting her head, and there's a murder in between. I cannot tell more now.
All right. A murder's involved. Okay.
What is your next project, Barbara? What are you working on next?
Well, in music, mostly.
No, you don't want to continue acting, perhaps?
Well, I would do that for sure.
But how about the sci-fi?
Oh yeah, well, but that's next year, and I haven't read the script, so I don't know.
Yeah, you
I was invited
can't
to be on a movie in Brazil, but I don't know. I have to one step at a time.
Definitely. Well, it's been a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you so much.
I guess we should all try some meditation to create, because that feels like it gives you great ideas.
I must say I love to meditate. So the good thing for me is like there is a part in the end when if you are writing something, you are in the creative mood, some images pump, like if you are really connecting, as David say, with something that is in the air. I think that is the great part that connects creativity with meditation.
And Lilith's Awakening is perhaps going to other festivals, right? Nothing announced, but people will get a chance to see it at other festivals in the future.
Hopefully. The thing is that horror film festivals are basically October and November.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this was the first one I submitted, but now I have to wait until August or September to know the results of the others. So I'm waiting.
We'll keep our fingers crossed.
The film is Lilith's Awakening, and the director Monica Demes, who's here with us, Dances with Films. And thank you for being with us, Monica. Thank you.
so much.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
So we hope you enjoyed this installment of Not Yet in Theaters, and we'll have another film next week.
Yeah, we'll keep on seeking out these filmmakers who are embarking on the process of getting their film seen. And if you hear of these films playing at festivals, make sure to check them out. So,
yes,
because there will be a lot of those have just had world premieres, so they will be kind of expanding into other festivals. And yeah, but
please, thank you for checking out, guys. We're always on Facebook and iTunes. You want to talk to us, and we'd love you to check us out on iTunes and give us a star rating or a review. We'd love to see what you think of the show.
Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter at One Week Filmcast
on Twitter, and then 1 Week Only Podcast on Facebook and iTunes.
Yeah. So episode 17, 5 really interesting films as you might have heard. And next week we're back with some great
some
great
really
films.
big, some really kind of like
slightly bigger.
Some big hitters of the indie scene this summer.
Slightly bigger than our usual fare, but
definitely worth seeing.
Yeah, definitely worth seeing. So we'll be back next week, and I'm heading to Film Quest at Genre Festival in Utah to cover the festival. So we'll see what news I bring from that festival next week.
What news from Utah?
Yeah. So that's Film Quest, which is happening June 17th to the 23rd. So to the 25th, I think. So I'll be there, and I'll bring you guys some news from the Utah genre scene.
Exactly. Very good.
This has been 1 week only.
I'm Connor.
And this is Carlos.
Thank you for listening.